There's a lot different between the two popular footballs we play throughout the world. For instance, one of these sports involves using a foot for majority of play, and that's the one we call soccer. But probably my favorite difference between the footballs is structure. In association football, or better yet just soccer, they have hierarchy pyramids, where the best of the best teams play in a league at the top, whereas your not so popular clubs reside at the bottom. And teams are constantly shifting up and down this pyramid, which is what we like to call promotion and relegation. So, I took all 32 NFL teams and all 134 D1 college teams of American football and put them in their own pyramid, having these 166 teams play in their own leagues of hierarchy, and we will see who will climb and who will fall. Let me introduce you to the pyramid that I will be using today. With 5 total levels, we will start from the top. At level 1, sharing the exact same name with the very top of the English football pyramid, this will be the Premier League, which in this case will be the top 16 NFL teams. You'll notice what I did with this pyramid is basically split up everything possible, and that's what I did with the NFL, the top 16 in the Premier League. Now let's take a look at the second layer, which is the Super League, what I'm calling the Super League, which will have the bottom 16 NFL teams. At the end of the day, these are all professional franchises, but this one varies from kind of mid to borderline to very bad NFL teams. So this could be like the Texans, the Commanders, the Cowboys, even the Jets and Titans are on this level. Now we go down one level to level 3. This is where we're starting to dip our toes into collegiate play. This is what I like to call the Power League, which will be of the two powerful Power 4 conferences in college football, the SEC and Big Ten. So for example, the teams in this level, which perfectly are the best 5 teams in college football right now: Ohio State, Alabama, A&M, Indiana, and Georgia. Now, something important to mention, because I'm choosing this level to be strictly SEC and Big Ten, that means that there are some teams who probably shouldn't be in this level who are starting out pretty strong. Teams like Purdue, Northwestern, maybe Arkansas, even South Carolina can stretch that. Those teams probably are not on the same level as other teams in the Power League, so those teams will have to watch out from getting relegated first. Where will they get relegated? Well, let's go to the league underneath them for level 4, which I'm calling the Standard League, the standard of college football, and this will be the other two Power 4 conferences that I left out in that level, ACC and Big 12. I wanted to make interesting dynamics today, so I felt it was fair to break college up into multiple layers, and it's definitely safe to say that the SEC and Big 10 are miles better than the ACC and Big 12, at least if you ask me. I'm a little biased, so that's why they're in separate levels. But it's also important to mention that there's definitely teams in this Standard League and the ACC and Big 12 that are definitely better teams than the SEC and Big 10, so it's going to be really cool to see which teams actually will move their way up and see if they even make it all the way up to the Super League with NFL teams. And finally, the bottom of the pyramid, level 5, is what I'll just call the National League, because it is all teams in the nation that are remaining, and it's going to be everything else in college football that's not Power 4. So you have Pac-12, the Mount West, the Middle American, the Sun Belt, the American, and Conference USA, and even the Independents. That does raise a concern, which I'll get to in just a second, about the Independents, but for example, teams like Oregon State, Boise State, South Florida, Tulane, Memphis, some good teams in here, they can definitely make a move up some levels. So as a result, here is the full pyramid with every single team, which really doesn't look like a pyramid, more like a Christmas tree, but 'tis the season, I guess. I did bring up a concern with the independent teams today, but more specifically, this one independent team everyone knows and loves, Notre Dame. Because they're not in any conference, they're starting at the very bottom of the pyramid, so it's going to be an interesting dynamic today to watch them possibly climb all the way up to maybe the Super League with NFL teams. And like I was saying earlier, some teams just got gift wrapped a really great starting position in this video. Purdue, Rutgers, South Carolina, they're going to have to fight to stay alive here in the Power League in level 3 of the pyramid. Now you're probably wondering, how exactly does the pyramid and its levels work? The Premier League, just like the real Premier League in England, does not have a playoffs. Instead, whichever team ends number 1 in the standings is the champion. And at the end of the season, 3 teams will be relegated down 1 league. For all the remaining leagues, the top 2 teams in those leagues will automatically get promoted. That 3rd spot, however, will come down to a mini playoffs. Teams placing 3rd, 4th, 5th, and 6th will be thrown into a mini playoffs, where the winner will claim that spot of the 3rd promoting team. And then the same applies for all those leagues too, as 3 teams will get relegated down, except for the final league. You can't get relegated there. I felt it was also important to mention inspiration today, as Drew from Not the Expert and Bordeaux have both done renditions of this, but strictly only college football. So I think I'm taking it to the next level, taking inspiration from them, but now give NFL on top of the pyramid. But before we begin our first year, let me tell you who's got you covered. Underdog Fantasy, where for you new customers, you can use my code DEAN and receive $100 in bonus funds when you play your first $5 entry, win or lose. And on top of that, Feast Week is back, where next week you will receive daily promos to kick off the holiday season. With Thanksgiving and Black Friday football on its way, be on the lookout for special supercharges and boosts that will increase your potential payout, where you can use them to build a pick'em lineup. It's simple. Select 2 or more players, higher or lower in their stats, stats for a chance to win 5,000 times your money. Let's do one of my own. I'm gonna do Christian Watson higher than his receiving yards because he's been heating up recently. And then let's do Trayvon Henderson to score an anytime rush or receiving touchdown against the Cincinnati defense. And how about Devontae Adams higher in his receiving yards as well against the Tampa Bay defense? Underdog pick'ems will be available to you in the shown highlighted states, alongside Underdog Champions, a way for you to compete online against real contestants. So be on the lookout for special holiday promos this upcoming week at Underdog Fantasy. And again, for my new users, a $5 entry for $100 in bonus funds or entries using my code DEAN. You can head to the top link in the description to claim this bonus. Thank you, Underdog Fantasy, for being today's video sponsor. Now, let's get the football pyramid underway with year number 1. So here it is, a very important regular season game here in the Power League. Penn State and Ohio State, 7-0. Here in the Horseshoe, it's been a defensive masterclass in overtime. 7-7, Penn State starts no gain. Brings us 2nd and 10. They're still running the football, and this time they will pick up some yardage as it's a first down for the Nittany Lions. They won't be able to run the football here, however. 3rd down and 8 from the 13-yard line. Drew Aller steps up, and he has an open receiver for a Penn State touchdown. They'll go up 14-7 in the first overtime. Devontae Ross puts the Lions up front. How do the Buckeyes respond? Sayin goes down for a loss of 8 yards. A costly sack for the Buckeyes offense, bring him to the 33, but then we'll get most of it back, still on his feet to the 16. It's 3rd and 1. Obviously, they gotta go. I don't think they're running the football. We have a triple set to the left of the line of scrimmage. It's still gonna be a throw. Sayin has some time. He gets this one off. Open receiver out of bounds at the 7. Let's see if they actually run the football. They will hand this one off, and Ohio State responds with a touchdown themselves. Now we've reached 2nd overtime where teams have to go for 2 now. Ohio State starts with it with a gain of 6. Will we see our first stop to a field goal? Julian Sayin, end zone, not there. 4th and 5. Penn State holds the Buckeyes to 3. They put a touchdown on the board. They win. 1st and goal from the 3. Another handoff. Good tackle. Read perfectly for a loss of 3. Shuffle pass forward. Not an ideal play. Makes it 3rd and goal for the 8 where Drew Aller's going to throw a normal pass this time. He goes to single 10 and they're getting stopped to a field goal as well. So we should be going to triple overtime, tied at 17. No, he missed it. No, he missed it. Are you kidding? No way that Penn State choked away that kick. That is a poo chick for any college kicker. Ohio State wins, and they are 8-0. We'll see if Penn State can survive the promotion zone, but I highly doubt it. But first, let's see how the entire pyramid played out for the end of year 1. At the very top of the football pyramid was the Seattle Seahawks, who are the Premier League champions, the record of 14-3. Some runner-up teams from that league, the Broncos, Chiefs, Rams, they all finished 13-4. Whereas one of the teams obviously getting relegated down from the Premier League is going to be the Los Angeles Chargers because they finished 4-13. So the official Premier League standings after year 1, we have our 3 relegating teams down to the Super League to play the other 16 NFL teams. They're joined by the Bears, the Jaguars, and the Chargers, surprisingly at 4-13. But the Seattle Seahawks get it done in year 1, and they're the very top team of the football pyramid. Now let's talk about the Super League. The champions end up being the Baltimore Ravens. Good, they honestly don't deserve to be here. They finished 13-4 as the number 1 team in this league. You know who's also joining them in the Premier League? The New York Giants, who started 2-5 in the relegation zone, worked all the way up to be 10-7. So the official Super League standings are 3 teams getting relegated down to the college football level is the Cincinnati Bengals, the Houston Texans, and the New Orleans Saints. You can see their seed number is red to indicate they're getting relegated, but if you look to the left side, if it's gold, that means they're getting promoted, and if it's green, that means they are making it to the playoffs for this league. So who will be the 3rd team to get promoted to the Premier League out of these 4 teams from the Super League playoffs? As the Vikings will play the Panthers in Minnesota, and the Jets will travel to Atlanta. Live from the Super League playoffs, the 3 versus 6, and down goes Bryce Young on a sack to set up 3rd down and 15. Needing 15 yards for the conversion, Bryce Young down the field, and it is dropped. It's 4th down. Last chance for Carolina to be that 3rd team promoted up, and it is a conversion on 4th and 15, a makeup catch by Xavier Legette. Carolina calls her final timeout, 3rd and goal from the 3-yard line. Open receiver, touchdown Carolina. They'll go over the Minnesota Vikings, and they will hold on as Carolina will play for the promotion game. And the Atlanta Falcons with Kirk Cousins at QB will be joining the Panthers to play for promotion. Falcons-Panthers, winner of this gets promoted to the Premier League, and the Atlanta Falcons are pouring it down the Panthers' throats. It's 31-10 as the Falcons get jumped up to the top 16. So there you have it. The Atlanta Falcons will be joining the Ravens and Giants as the 3 teams promoted up to the highest level of the pyramid. And now let's see what's going on in the college football level in the Power League. You would never believe who ended up being the Power League champions. Coming out of nowhere, the University of South Southern California Trojans have won the Power League. I'm looking at the standings right now. This is strictly just the Big Ten. Look at this. The 1 seed, 2 seed, 3 seed, 4 seed, 5 seed, 6 seed. They have the 6 best teams in the country. The Big Ten does. Whereas the SEC, I guess they were just cannibalizing themselves. This is a big loss for SEC fanboys like me. What I'm noticing is that Ohio State must have dropped a game to Michigan and then went on to lose the Big Ten championship to USC, who stole away the number 1 seed, and then Penn State ended up dropping games somewhere other than Ohio State. As a result, this is the Power League standings. We'll start with an actual plus side for the SEC. At least there's no SEC teams getting relegated. They won in that department, as Minnesota, Wisconsin, and Purdue are all moving down a level, and that's going to the Standard League. But South Carolina kind of fell off. They were 6-0, sitting in a promotion spot, and they ended up finishing 9-4 as the 12th seed in the Power League, and the SEC was crazy. A bunch of 9-3 teams. You know who ended up winning it? The Florida Gators, the highest ranked SEC team in the Power League at 7. They won the SEC championship. They finished 10-3. I'm doing tiebreakers based off college football playoff rankings, so that's why you can see Indiana is actually above Ohio State. Because Ohio State lost in the Big Ten championship, it set them down to the 3 seed. Indiana jumped to 2, and that means Indiana and USC are the 2 first teams that are going up to the NFL. This will give us this Power League bracket to determine that 3rd spot joining those 2 teams. We have the Ohio State Buckeyes versus the Oregon Ducks, great game, and the Penn State Nittany Lions versus the Michigan Wolverines, another great game. Ohio State versus Oregon. Oregon is up by 4 points as Ohio State's going for it on 4th down and 6 at the 10-yard line. Interesting decision. There's still 6 minutes left in this game, and a post route in the end zone. No, it's not there. Turnover on downs. Oregon takes over, and Oregon is going to find the end zone to go up by 2 scores. That really went south for Ohio State. Yeah, Oregon will hold on in this game, and Ohio State, it's weird not going to see them promoted first, but I guess they'll stay in this league for another season. And a surprising result here as Penn State will take down the Wolverines and meet the Ducks in the promotion game. Whereas in that promotion game, the Ducks will take down the Penn State Nittany Lions, and they will be the 3rd team promoted up to the NFL level. They will be joined with USC and Indiana as the 3 teams I will be bringing over to Madden 26. We'll see how they perform. But first, down to the Standard League, where the Texas Tech Red Raiders won this league with an 11-2 record, and they will be promoting up. You know who will join them? The Clemson Tigers, to my surprise, who finished 10-3 as the 2 seed in this league. Good. They're going to get promoted to play against SEC and Big Ten teams. They need the challenge. The Standard League playoffs will include Miami, BYU, SMU, and Kansas, and the 3 teams relegated from this league are UCF, Virginia Tech, and Boston College. 2 from the ACC, 1 from the Big 12. The battle for the 3rd spot, Miami will play Kansas, BYU plays SMU. Carson Beck and the Miami Hurricanes need a touchdown. It's 4th down and 10, and this is incomplete. Kansas takes over. Surprising result, especially since Carson Beck is used to playing SEC teams in the Power League, but he will not make it up this year. And Kansas will be playing the SMU Mustangs, who beat BYU by a touchdown on the road. SMU would definitely be a very surprising promotion team. Up the seam, 1st down to the 15. That quickly takes 20 seconds off the clock. Need to look for something further than that, and there's a touchdown for the Jayhawks as they'll go up in Ford Stadium against the Mustangs. SMU couldn't get in field goal range anyway, so Kansas will be the 3rd team promoted up to the next league. So Kansas, Clemson, and Texas Tech promoted to the Power League. And finally, at the bottom of year 1, the National League, where the Memphis Tigers won this league at 11-2 record. A very surprising team was the UConn Huskies, finishing 10-2 at the 3 seed. To think I was highlighting Notre Dame as the best independent team, I completely missed out on UConn apparently, who finished ranked in 10-2. It still wasn't good enough to earn that 3rd promotion spot in the National League, however, as Tulane lost the conference championship to Memphis, and they were a better ranked team, so they will get the 2nd promotion spot. UConn, however, will have to play in the playoff to earn it. They'll play a home game against San Diego State in the 1st round, and then Miami, Ohio versus Buffalo. That is depressing. UConn gave up a touchdown with 6 seconds remaining in the game, 42-yard touchdown. I'm worried this is the closest they'll ever be to get promoted. Yeah, the 6th seed San Diego State holds on. They win 29-28. In the Maction battle, Miami, Ohio holds on to win this one 16-12, so they'll play San Diego State. And our 2nd Miami team today also failed to promote themselves. San Diego State will move up from the bottom level of the pyramid. That is a depressing game to lose for Miami, even the one I said for UConn as well, because you really have no clue if these teams will come anywhere close to getting promoted once again. And now for a quick recap from year number 1, the 24 teams on the move with our promotions and relegations, going down from the 1st to the 2nd level, the Premier to the Super, the Bears, the Jaguars, and the Chargers. But getting promoted up to the Premier League is going to be the Ravens, the Giants, and the Falcons. The 3 teams joining college football in the Power League will be the Bengals, the Texans, and the Saints. Whereas the 3 teams joining the NFL will be USC, Indiana, and Oregon. Going down to the Standard League will be Minnesota, Wisconsin, and Purdue. And going from Standard to Power will be Texas Tech, Clemson, and Kansas. Getting relegated down to the bottom of the pyramid is UCF, Virginia Tech, and Boston College. And escaping poverty will be Memphis, Tulane, and San Diego State. And with the conclusion of year 1, this is now the updated pyramid going into year 2. I try to make it user friendly. You can see the very first and very last 3 teams are the ones ones that got promoted or relegated, and they have a white border around their icon. This is where it really starts getting interesting. Time to put some college teams in the NFL and vice versa. Let's move on to year number 2. The start of year 2, let's introduce all the changes from bottom to top. Now you can see Tulane and Memphis have joined the ACC as they jumped up to the Standard League, alongside San Diego State, but except they're going to the Big 12. And then our 2 teams demoted to the National. We have Boston College and Virginia Tech in the American, and then UCF in the Mount West, which is looking very easy for them to win. The Big 10 is probably the weirdest looking division today. There is so much to go over here in only year 2. We can see the 3 promoting teams into the Power League: Texas Tech, Kansas, and Clemson, and then the 3 demoted teams: Minnesota, Wisconsin, and then Purdue. We can also see in the Big 10 the 3 teams that got demoted from the Super League in the NFL. We have the Bengals, the Texans, and then we have the Saints. This is the weirdest division ever. I mean, what the hell are the Clemson and the NFL teams doing in the Big 10? And now up to Madden, our 3 teams promoted to the Super League. We have Indiana, Oregon, and USC. A quick disclaimer, however, as I was not able to create these teams. At the time of recording this, the Team Builder website is currently down, so I had to go to the Community Download Center and take these teams. For any teams I took from the community, I'm listing them in the description and the people who made them as well. So yeah, here's Indiana, and I'm even adding their quarterback, Fernando Mendoza, who's a Heisman frontrunner at the time of recording. Here's the Oregon Ducks quarterback, Dante Moore, and the USC quarterback, Jaden Mayava from Hawaii. So I don't want to take that long in year 2. Let's simulate to the end of the season, see what happens. And hitting the peak of the football pyramid in year 2, go figure, it's the Kansas City Chiefs. They finished 13-4. I do hope the New York Giants enjoyed their 1-year stay in the Premier League, because they're going right back down to the Super League. Shout out to the Baltimore Ravens, however. The only reason they lost the Premier League was to a league tiebreaker. They literally went from the Super League to almost winning the Premier League in their first year up here. But a lot of changes only after year 1. The Seahawks, who won this league last year, just barely survived relegation. They finished 8-9. You know who didn't survive relegation? The Denver Broncos and the New England Patriots. 2 teams that were in the top 5 teams last year, both getting relegated. And of course, the New York Giants, like I mentioned. They'll be heading to the Super League next year, but the champion for the Super League this year was the Arizona Cardinals at a 9-8 record. That should tell you everything you should need to know. The Chicago Bears, unfortunately, are one of the teams getting relegated, as they will join the college football level in the Power League. This team started today in the Premier League, and they're getting relegated 2 years in a row. I wanted to see how one of the college quarterbacks was going to perform up here in the Super League. Fernando Mendoza finished with 3,800 yards, 23 touchdowns, and 13 interceptions. Not bad. They're going to be staying in this league for another year, however. As we look at the Super League, matter of fact, all 3 college teams that got promoted last year are staying here, including USC, who has a chance to play for the Premier League. Yeah, that's right. Your eyes are not deceiving you. They will get the 5 seed and have to play the Carolina Panthers in the first round, whereas the Chargers and Jaguars will play on the other side. A lot of 9-8 teams. Indiana finished 8-9. Oregon finished 6-11, so they just survived relegation. But you know who didn't survive relegation? The Bears, the Raiders, and the Dolphins. Those 3 teams are heading down to college football. But first, let's see who the 3rd team's going to be that's promoted up to the Premier League. The Jaguars in overtime will strike to the 8-yard line. Both these teams were in the Premier League last year, so they're trying to gain it back. It's intercepted in the end zone, and LA takes over. They just need a few points. But yet all that for nothing as the Chargers go 3-and-out and punt it back to the Jaguars. All that is needed is a field goal from the 45, and there it is to the 30 in field goal range. And Cam Little to send this one up through the uprights, as the Jaguars should move on to play the winner of the Panthers and the USC Trojans. Yes, you're seeing this right. A college team is over an NFL team. I guess let's blame it on the rain. And USC will storm up front and take down Chuba Hubbard at 2nd and 11. The difference is 3 points. Looking to get some of those yards back. They'll get a lot right here to the 50, which makes it 3rd down and 6. Bryce Young to throw. Bryce Young with 4 rushing. Bryce Young finds an open receiver to the 30. Let's see if they can stay alive for a touchdown. Bryce Young on 3rd down. Good conversion up the middle to the 9. It's 3rd and goal from the 18. Chances are they only walk away with 3 points unless Bryce Young goes to the end zone. Someone's wide open. Bryce Young connects with a touchdown. That was Darnell Washington, who is a Pittsburgh Steeler in real life. I guess he got traded in year number 2. Can Jaden Mayava and the Trojans get a touchdown themselves? And Mayava is sacked, and he loses the football in the rain, and it's picked up by an offensive lineman for 3rd and 20. Looks like they'll be staying in the Super League if they can't get a conversion of 20 yards. Not even close. Carolina will win this one. So the Panthers will meet the Jaguars to see who will get promoted to the top of the pyramid. All Carolina had in the tank, however, was beating a college team, as the Jaguars will look to get promoted as they win 27-3. And so Jacksonville will join the Cardinals and the Cowboys as the 3 teams going up to the Premier League for year number 3. But now down to college football in the Power League, where Penn State will win this league, finishing 12-1, and they will be promoted up to the Super League. Take a look at the Big 10. I knew this was going to be the craziest conference, as Clemson is ranked number 4. The Saints are not even ranked. Look at the Bengals. They're 6-6. Even College Football 26 is accurately displaying this Cincinnati Bengals defense. Texans. I think this is a good time to mention that don't take anything in this video seriously. Everything with a grain of salt, please. I mean, nothing of this is supposed to be realistic. I can't accurately show Jamar Chase and Joe Burrow on a college level thanks to the limitations I have with these video games. But I mean, the Bengals going 6-6, none of this is realistic. I mean, even the Saints, who obviously would have been really good. The Saints and the Texans, but at least the Texans finished ranked. Haven't even looked at the SEC yet. I guess Georgia might be the other promoting team. Alabama came short. I guess they lost the SEC championship. Yeah, here's the Power League standings. Penn State and Georgia are the two for sure promoting teams. The third spot will come down to Clemson, Alabama, Texas A&M, and UCLA. The Texans and Saints both on this graphic as they finish 7 and 13 respectively. No Bengals in sight, but the relegating teams will be Northwestern, the first SEC team today, Kentucky, and Maryland finishing 3 and 9. So Clemson versus UCLA and Alabama versus A&M. Let's see who joins Georgia and Penn State in the next league. Yeah, UCLA didn't even stand a chance in this game. They're gonna lose 38-7. Okay, at least this game was a little bit closer, but the Bama Crimson Tide will get it done 31-20. Something about Clemson and Alabama meeting in 14 playoffs. But this one's important because it determines who's going to the NFL. Alabama trails by 5. They get a first down to around the red zone, still going to the 20, but now stopped to a 3rd and 8 at the 19, where Ty Simpson finds a completion to Ryan Williams at the 3. Okay, now they have to pass. They need 4 yards here. Ty Simpson open, wide open. It's an Alabama touchdown. Jan Miller puts the Tide up by 1, going for 2 now. A check down is not there, so the lead will stay at 1 point. Clemson just had a costly holding call, so they have to dig themselves out of a 2nd down and 20. Why not just throw it up for double coverage? And that could have been picked. It's 3rd and 20. Not a fan of that call. You don't want to get this backed up behind the sticks unless someone's wide open right there for a first down to the 28. Alabama might get this football back. It's 3rd down and 10. Never mind, another costly 3rd down conversion for this Bama defense. No, it's dropped. I lied. It's 4th and 10. Yeah, 3 timeouts in a minute 50 for Bama. They should easily go down the field, right? Not even. Looking at a 50-yard kick from this distance, and there you go. Open receiver inside the 10. A field goal is an easy kick from here. Do they just go for the end zone? And this is a touchdown for Alabama. Why not? Alabama will leave Death Valley with a victory. And only time was going to tell us when Alabama will get promoted to the NFL today. And now on to the Standard League, where the Louisville Cardinals will win this league and get promoted up to the Power. They will be joined by the likings of the Duke Blue Devils. I thought they were a basketball school. They're going to the Power League as well. The Purdue Boilermakers will join the Chicago Bears as the two teams that get relegated in back-to-back years. They're going down to the very bottom of the pyramid. The relegating teams, Purdue, and then Stanford, and then the 2-10 Virginia Cavaliers. The playoffs looked really similar compared to last year. Miami, SMU, BYU making it back-to-back years. The only new team is Kansas State, which makes sense because the team that got promoted last year was Kansas. Well, the Kansas connection won't work here, however. Miami gets it done. These two teams met last year, however, BYU will steal this one. But Miami will take down BYU by 10 points to get promoted up to the Power League. So the Hurricanes will join Duke and Louisville. And then finally at the bottom, the National League champions were the Boise State Broncos, moving on up. Again, another letdown by Notre Dame, who finished 7-5. I mean, look at their overall ratings, and they're at the very bottom of the pyramid. They should at least be fighting for a playoff spot in this league. Well, to be completely fair for Notre Dame, they always schedule a harder opponent. Look at the teams that have played: Boise State, Miami, Texas A&M. They actually played the New Orleans Saints. It kind of makes sense, actually, why this team's having a hard time in the National League. Even Illinois. Well, that was their bowl game, but still, they finished 17th in the National League. Just barely made this graphic. The two teams getting promoted right now, Boise State and JMU. Boise State was ranked higher in the final poll, even though JMU was 11-2. So James Madison getting promoted. Here's the National League playoffs. Absolutely whack. North Texas versus Middle Tennessee State. Virginia Tech versus Southern Miss. I wonder who's gonna win this one. Yeah, I went ahead and did a little mining off camera. Virginia Tech, congratulations. You have been promoted. So Virginia Tech got knocked down, but bounced right back up. And now we have the final year 2 promotions and relegations. Getting relegated to the second level, the Broncos, the Patriots, the Giants. Getting promoted to the Premier League, the Cardinals, the Cowboys, and the Jaguars. Joining college football will be the Bears, the Raiders, and the Dolphins. And joining the NFL, we have Penn State, Georgia, and Alabama. 3 good teams. Going down to the Big 12 and the ACC and the Standard League is Northwestern, Kentucky, and Maryland. And going up to the SEC and Big 10 in the Power League will be Louisville, Duke, and Miami. Down to the bottom of the pyramid of the National will be Purdue, Stanford, and Virginia. And making their way to the Standard is Boise State, James Madison, and Virginia Tech. And here is where our Christmas tree pyramid stands as we begin year number 3. Nothing really catching my eye in the Premier League. However, I would say I don't think this is the very top 16 teams, at least today, however. The Super League looking very interesting, as now 6 out of the 16 teams are college football programs. I'll be interested to see if any of them will get promoted to the very top. The Power League, which was once the Big 10 and SEC, almost looks completely unrecognizable. There's teams from like every conference. There's multiple NFL teams. There's 6 NFL teams in this conference now. This is just a mess. Nothing catching my eye too much out of the Standard League. However, I would watch out for some of the teams that started in the group of 5. Memphis, Tulane, Boise State, they could be threats. And at the very bottom, the only storyline I'm really keeping up with is Notre Dame. When will they finally finally get out of this mess. Year 3 as we take a look at the NFL, as 6 college football teams have infiltrated their way in. All teams from the Big 10 or SEC. It'll be interesting to see if any Big 12 or ACC teams will make it up this far. What a rise to the top the Baltimore Ravens have had, as they've made it to the very top of the pyramid in year 3, going 15-2 in the Premier League. They finished 2 games above second place to win the Premier League 15-2. Our relegating teams, the Cardinals and Cowboys, literally just got here and they're going right back down as they both go 6-11. Well, the 49ers also going down at 6-11 as well. Alabama went 13-4. They just won the Super League. They're getting promoted to the Premier League. Our first college football team to reach that level is the Alabama Crimson Tide. Even Penn State did good. They went 11-6, so they might be competing for a playoff spot to go up to the Premier League. Both the Oregon Ducks and Georgia Bulldogs went 9-8. Not a good look for Indiana, as they went 3-14, definitely getting demoted back to college football. So yes, Alabama did beat out an NFL team thanks to league standings, and they win the tiebreaker and are the first team promoted up to the Premier League from the college football level. But Penn State has a chance to join them because they will be playing the playoff alongside the Oregon Ducks, 2 college teams in this playoff. The Panthers and Falcons both go 5-12, and they'll find themselves in the relegation zone. The Browns and Patriots gotta watch out, especially the Patriots. They went from the top of the league to almost college football. They were 1 game out of it. Indiana, however, going right back down to college football. It just looks like they couldn't perform. They went 3-14. So yes, not only are 2 college teams trying to join Alabama in the Premier League, they're also playing each other in the first round of the Super League playoffs. It's Penn State and Oregon. I can't believe this is a game I'm simulating in Madden 26. Oregon versus Penn State, and here's the first down for the Ducks inside the 10. Dante Moore still at quarterback, but for the most part, everybody else is auto-generated players. Dante Moore rushes in the end zone for a touchdown to go ahead against Penn State. Quickly down the field is Penn State looking for the equalizer. Auto-generated team. This is intercepted and probably going to be a pick 6. If he can stay on his feet, he'll get tracked down around midfield. The Oregon Ducks close this one out and await the winner of the Vikings and Titans. And somehow the Oregon Ducks will be beating the Tennessee Titans as they win 16-10. I don't know what's up with the rating every single game I simulate. I guess it's just the Oregon Ducks, but on the first play of overtime, I'm spectating a touchdown. The Ducks will go up by 6, and the Titans have to respond. Not a good start for Cam Ward. It's 3rd and 10, and he has a first down in midfield. Staying through the air, drop back. This is another first down for the Titans. That was Calvin Ridley to the 38. A blitz on Cam Ward, who just holds on to the football, but a loss of 6. 2nd and 16, a down he goes again. Makes it 3rd down and 20. Cam Ward just throws one up, and this is incomplete. 4th and 20. Will the Oregon Ducks be promoted? It's a blitz. Wobbly pass, incomplete. The Ducks are going to the Premier League. Final score, 20-13. The Premier League will see the addition of 2 college football teams and the return of the Denver Broncos. The Bears just can't seem to settle down, can they? They're on the move again, but this time it's the right way, as they won the Power League going 13-0 and undefeated in college football. I think Duke might be the other promoting team from the Power League, which is crazy because they won the SEC. A lot of good teams also here as well. The Raiders got ranked, the Dolphins did not at 7-5. The other half of the Power League in the Big 10, we have Miami, Louisville, Clemson's actually getting up there, Cincinnati's ranked. UCLA was playing in the playoffs last year. They went 2-10 this year. They're probably getting relegated. Arkansas and LSU as well could be in those positions. So yeah, the Bears and the Duke Blue Devils will be going up to the NFL in the Super League. I can't believe Duke is making it back up. And then we have Oklahoma, Miami, A&M, and the Raiders playing in the playoffs. A couple first-year teams, Louisville and Clemson did pretty solid, but not good enough to make the playoffs. The relegation zone, yes, has Arkansas, but Michigan State went 3-9 and UCLA went 2-10. Those 3 teams going down to the standard. For that 3rd promotion spot to the NFL, we have the Sooners versus Raiders and the Hurricanes versus Aggies. Keep in mind there's no player editor for college football, so that means the players on the Raiders are all automatically generated. That might be a good thing for the Raiders because they don't have Geno Smith at quarterback. 3rd and 4, they will pass this time, and it's going to be floated up to the right end zone, and it is caught for a touchdown. Oklahoma strikes the board. A lot of airtime on that one, and for whatever reason, Oklahoma does not want to go for 2 here, so they leave it at a 6-point game. So let's see if these auto-generated people can bring the Raiders back to the NFL. Number 11 at QB gets a completion out of bounds. No, he's still going. He goes out of bounds at the 35. Justin Marlowe is the quarterback. I've already seen enough. He's better than Geno Smith. He throws a quick slant. This is going to gain a first down. Hell, I might need to bring this dude up to the NFL if they end up getting promoted. A screen pass. This one not working so well. No timeouts. We're down to 70 seconds. We need to get a first down. Brock Bowers apparently with a catch, wearing 89. Down to 50 seconds. This is another quick slant, but we will stop the clock as we get a first down. Seriously, you can't tell me that's not Brock Bowers. The game knew what they were doing, but oh no! Picked off. Marlowe throws an interception, and Oklahoma has a return to the 36. Well, in his defense, Geno Smith would have probably done the same thing. The Raiders will stay in the college football level. Unfortunately for Miami, I think they've hit their peak for the moment. They got promoted last year, but they won't be able to do the same here. And so the winner of this goes up to the NFL. SEC battle between Texas A&M and Oklahoma with a first down to the 5-yard line. Just under 2 minutes to go, and a sack for A&M for 3rd and goal to 10. They'll have to go for it on 4th down anyways if they don't get this. Maybe another sack. No, he gets the pass off. It's a screen. It's going to be 4th and and goal from the 6. Will Oklahoma make it to the NFL? This is incomplete, but a flag. Oh, it could be pass interference. No, it was holding on the offense, negated, turnover on downs, A&M takes over. And A&M goes into Oklahoma, and they are making their way to the NFL, which means the Chicago Bears, the Duke Blue Devils, and the Texas A&M Aggies will be moving up to the NFL for year number 4. Now for the Standard League, as they will see the promotion of the BYU Cougars winning this league with 11-2 record. Look at Tulane. I did say watch out for the group of 5 teams. They won the ACC. Or did they? Yeah, they went 10-3, but they are unfortunately a lower ranked CFP team, so that means they're not going to get the spot over Utah. We had Northwestern and California both go 2-10, so they're probably getting relegated. Northwestern was literally just relegated down to this level, so that means they're going down to the very bottom. So yeah, that's exactly what will happen. The 2 Utah teams will get promoted to the Power League. That's BYU and Utah. Tulane just misses the cut, and that's because they were ranked lower in the CFP poll compared to Utah. Even though they won their conference, they won the ACC. They're still competing for that promotion spot, however. Them, Florida State, James Madison, another original group of 5 team, and Iowa State. And yeah, like I said, the 3 relegating teams all went 2-10. Northwestern, Oklahoma State, and California going down to the National League. I went ahead and simulated this playoffs off camera, and Tulane got it done. So yeah, I did mean it. You gotta watch out for them, because Tulane went from the very bottom of the pyramid to now playing with teams like Ohio State. And finally, for the National League, the champions were Notre Dame. They finally got their stuff together, and they went 11-1. I guess they scheduled cupcakes all year round this time. Yeah, they finished as the number 4 team in the country this year. UConn completely fell off. They were the better team independent-wise the last 2 seasons. UCF finished off as the 11th team in the country, no thanks to them being in the Mountain West Conference. San Jose State also had an impressive season. They ranked 22. Here's the top 17 teams in the National League, as Notre Dame's going up finally, and UCF will get back up with their promotion. A lot of the teams that fell down to this level are having a hard time getting back up. UCF is the second behind Virginia Tech, but teams like Purdue and Boston College, who you can see on this graphic at 8-5, they're just having a hard time getting out of the National League. This was a National League playoffs, a bunch of random teams, but San Jose State University got promoted, and they will be joining the Standard League. And that's a conclusion for year 3, so here's our promotions and relegations. Going down 1 level, the Cardinals, the Cowboys, and the 49ers going to the Super League. Taking their place with the Alabama Crimson Tide, the Denver Broncos, and the Oregon Ducks going to the top of the pyramid. I made a slight mistake on this one, as going down to the Power League will be the Panthers, the Chargers, and Indiana. Originally, it was the Falcons instead. I got the 2 teams mixed up. The Falcons are fine. The Chargers are the ones getting relegated. So those 3 teams will be joining college football. Who's going to the NFL? The Bears are going back to the NFL, joined by the Duke Blue Devils and the Texas A&M Aggies. Down to the Standard League, we have Arkansas, Michigan State, and UCLA. I think those are better fit places for those teams. But taking their spot going up to the Big Ten and SEC with the Power League is BYU, Utah, and Tulane. Interested to see how Tulane's going to perform against some of these teams. Down to the bottom of the pyramid, we have Northwestern, Oklahoma State, and California. And making their move up a little bit, Notre Dame finally on the move, UCF goes back up, and San Jose State. So the updated pyramid as we go into year number 4. Like I said earlier, the Falcons are fine. They were actually in the Premier League the whole time. I got them mixed up, the LA Chargers, who are a league underneath them. They're fine, and they're going to be playing against teams like the Alabama Crimson Tide, the Oregon Ducks, the first college teams all the way to the top of the pyramid. The Super League looking weird as always. There's now 5 college teams, as 2 of them are going up, but Duke and Texas A&M are joining and replacing them. This league is just total chaos. Probably the most despicable, heinous league out of all of them. It's just complete hell. This one included the SEC and Big Ten to start today. It is now 50% different. Only 17 of the 34 teams remain in this at the start of year 1. There's NFL teams, there's Group of 5 teams, Big 12, there's ACC, SEC, Big 10, all mixed together with these 34 teams. This is a complete mess. And then in the Standard League, Notre Dame finally making their way up. This means that they actually have to join a conference, so we'll see how that affects how they'll play and who they'll schedule against. And then the very bottom, there's just nothing really to talk about anymore, especially since Notre Dame is out of here. All these teams are basically at the bottom of the pyramid for a reason. Year 4, the Ravens have turned into the king of the hill as our back-to-back Premier League champions, going 15-2 again. We're going to fly through year 4 because I'm saving our 5th and final year for a more in-depth look. Alabama went 13-4 this year. They rivaled Alabama to be the Premier League champions, a college football team, I kid you not. Matter of fact, both our college teams in this level did pretty good. Oregon went 10-7. Our 3 relegating teams, the Jaguars, Colts, and this is the time the Falcons actually get relegated, going 7-10. On top of the Super League is the Dallas Cowboys. They keep on going back and forth, but this time they make a statement. They are the Super League champions. It got dangerously close for a college football team winning this one as well. Texas A&M went 10-7, but they are getting promoted up to the Premier League, another college team on that level. The college programs are all performing pretty well. I mean, that's basically because I'm giving them auto-generated rosters, so whatever happens, happens. Georgia went 9-8. I mean, Penn State went 8-9. The only one that didn't do so well is USC, who's getting relegated back to college football at a 3-14 season. They'll be joining the Vikings with the Cardinals going 4-13, so they're going back down, and the Titans went 1-16. At least they didn't go 0-17. They're going to college football. Better for them. And again, I'm doing these off camera for this year. Another college college team was close to getting promoted up to the Premier League. Georgia lost to the Patriots, however, as New England's going back to the top. The Power League champions are the Texas Tech Red Raiders, an undefeated 13-0. An impressive run for them today as they climb their way up. I believe they won the Standard League a couple years ago as well. Two teams from Texas will be going to the Super League. The Texas Longhorns will join them, but I kid you not, we had an NFL team get relegated. The Miami Dolphins went 5-7 in the SEC. They lost the tiebreaker with teams like the Chargers and LSU because I'm going off point differential. They had negative 56 points in the differential, so they're the third team getting demoted, and they're going the furthest any NFL team has gone down the pyramid. They'll be joining the Standard League with BYU, who literally just got here, and Mississippi State. They both went 4-8. The Rutgers went 9-3. Impressive. That's better than two NFL teams at this level. The Panthers went 9-3 as well, and the Saints went 8-4. This is what happened in the Power League playoffs. Ohio State is finally making their way up to the NFL. It took them to the 5th year. I thought it was going to happen a lot sooner than that. Now to the Standard League, the champions are the SMU Mustangs, going 11-2, and they will join the SEC and Big Ten in the Power League. It'll be them and Pittsburgh getting promoted, but the playoff will have Arizona State, Memphis, Kansas State, and Notre Dame. They just squeaked the tiebreaker for that 6th seed to make the playoffs for the Standard League. The three relegating teams are Maryland and then San Jose State, who just got here. They're going back down to the bottom where they probably should be, and then UCLA going 2-10. They found their way all the way to the bottom. They started the Big Ten today. And yeah, this was kind of an easy bracket for Notre Dame to win. They finally are making their way to the Power League as well. They really should have been here sooner than later. And at the bottom, but not anymore, is the USF Bulls, an undefeated 13-0 and National League champions. California also went 13-0, but USF was ranked higher in the CFP poll. That just goes to show that California does not need to be here. They got demoted last year, I believe, and they went undefeated at the bottom of the pyramid. A lot of 8-5 and 8-4 teams, but our 4 playoff teams from this league is Hawaii, Southern Miss, North Texas, and Miami. It feels like the same few teams have been fighting for their life down the bottom, but Southern Miss finally got it done this time, and they will be seeing what life is like in the Standard League. So as we approach our final year of simulation, here's what happened. The Jaguars, Colts, and Falcons going down to the Super. Cowboys, Texas A&M, and Patriots going up to the Premier. Cardinals, USC, and Titans going down to the Power. Texas Tech, Texas, and Ohio State going up to the Super. The Miami Dolphins, BYU, and Mississippi State going down to the Standard. Crazy. Into the Power is SMU, Pitt, and Notre Dame. Down to the National, the bottom is Maryland, San Jose State, and UCLA. And into the Standard is UCF, Cal, and Southern Miss. And this is the pyramid going into the 5th and final year I'm simulating for year number 5. 3 college football teams at the top of the pyramid: Alabama, Oregon, and Texas A&M. And Alabama is a contender to win the Premier for our final year we're simulating. We have 3 new college football teams going into the Super League, 2 of them from Texas. We'll see if one of the 6 can get it done this year. The Power League is looking as crazy as ever. I wonder if we'll see another NFL team do just as bad as the Dolphins did and get demoted, but hopefully not. They don't deserve to go that far down. And the story for the Standard League, let's see if the Dolphins can get out of this mess. I mean, if this was realistic, they would probably go 17-0 like they did in 1972. Also, it's pretty funny to mention the Miami Hurricanes and the Miami Dolphins, who share the same stadium at Hard Rock Stadium. I never would have thought the Miami Hurricanes would be at a higher level than the Miami Dolphins. I mean, they get like 10 people to attend their games. And then, of course, the National League for our final simulating year. It will be fun to see who makes it out for one more time. So everything's up for grabs in our final year for year number 5. Take a look at the 2 NFL leagues right now with all the college teams implemented now. I believe there's 9 college teams. Yeah, I went ahead and simulated the midseason mark in our Premier League. Something to watch out for. The Oregon Ducks, undefeated. Seahawks 6-1, Eagles 6-1, Bama is 6-1. There's a lot of teams in the race to the Premier League at the moment. And look who plays each other in Week 16. The 2 frontrunners of the Premier League, both college teams somehow, Alabama and Oregon Ducks. And man, the Oregon Ducks progressed really good. The winner of this game essentially is going to be the Premier League champions, as the Alabama Crimson Tide take on the Oregon Ducks in Eugene. It's a touchdown difference. Alabama and their generator players looking for the answer, and Oregon keeps on making defensive plays. Every time I spectate this team, something new is happening on defense. Nothing about seeing Alabama and Oregon in Madden makes any sense, but it looks really cool. And a first down, nobody's there in the secondary to pick up on it, and it's a first down to the 3. 2 minutes to go, running the football. Alabama strikes the end zone and an extra point away from tying this game at 17. No, this game went to overtime. In the very first play, Alabama throws an interception. And guess who's at the 16-yard line? Oregon. I was hoping it ended a little bit more interesting than that, but going to the outside, looking for a touchdown to end it. It's a flag, however. This could back them up if it's offensive holding. Never mind, the game lied to me. It was actually injury. Can Alabama force a turnover? It's 3rd and goal. Why not just kick the field goal? 3rd and goal at the 7. Dante Moore, floater pass. It's a touchdown to win it for Oregon as they move to 13-2 and are 2 games away from being Premier League champions. And that game is what did it, as the Oregon Ducks, a college football team, are on top of the pyramid at the end of year number 5. To make it even even worse for our NFL teams, Alabama did finish second place in the Premier League. They went 14-3. Yeah, so look at the Premier League standings from our final year. All three college teams did really good in this level, and it seems like they would stay here if I did this any longer. It is weird seeing the Broncos, the Chiefs, and the Buccaneers as the three relegating teams, as they went 7-10 and 6-11 respectively. I mean, I guess this is 5 years from now. These teams are not as good. However, I think the Chiefs would at least be better than that. But most of these teams, I feel like, stayed in the entire league for the entire 5-year simulation. The Packers, Eagles, Lions, Seahawks, they all went around the same record every single year. You know what? That's consistency. You want to stay in this for as long as possible, and that's exactly what they did today. Now for the Super League, and I'm looking at the NFL standings, and I really think Texas Tech was the best team in the Super. Yeah, they had the best record. What a story for the Texas Tech Red Raiders. They're now Super League champions. This is like the third league they've won today. The Duke Blue Devils were not made for the NFL, but at least they made it up this far. A lot of college teams could not say that today. They went 5-12. So here's the Super League standings. The Texas Tech Red Raiders won this going 11-6. The only worst teams in this were 5-12. That goes to show how this league has performed and what it's turning into. And it is a very, very competitive league, the second one up to the top. So much in case that we have two college football teams that will be playing in the playoffs for the final year in the Super League, and two of them actually went 8-9. Two of these teams, Ohio State and the Falcons, went 8-9. So this is the Super League playoffs to join the Red Raiders and the Niners for that third promotion spot to the top of the pyramid. These are two really cool matchups. The Bulldogs and the Falcons, those two teams are really close geographically, and then the Colts and Ohio State Buckeyes. I mean, same story there. This is weird seeing this. This is kind of like the Atlanta Braves playing their farm team, but the farm team is winning pretty big right now. It's 27-11. I think it's going to end like that. The Georgia Bulldogs will have a chance to play for promotion to the Premier League. In the least offensive way possible to whoever made this team builder, I don't think you got the correct color of the Ohio State helmets, but they're looking to get in field goal range, down by a point. There's a first down to the 27. Ohio State's trying to execute an offensive drive with a construction site in the shadows. It's 3rd and 10, but they get a first down to the 15. Will the Colts get the football back? And it's 4th down. Yes, they will. Indianapolis will be down 2 points. They get it back with a minute 48. Ohio State is used to closing out games at Lucas Oil because that's where the Big Ten Championship is played. It's 3rd and 8. Will Daniel Jones be able to come up with a first down conversion? He might run. He steps into this throw deep down the field, overshoots its target. It's 4th and 8. And here's the Colts' last chance to get back into the Premier League. Ohio State almost gets to him, and it's a catch, and it's at the 50. Looked like that was Alec Pierce who just saved the Colts' chances, and now they're moving the football pretty well. Tyler Warren, it takes 3 Buckeyes to take him down. Again, passing well in field goal range now, Michael Pittman. And now a handoff is in the end zone. A touchdown by the Colts. It was just 4th and 8 from their own territory. Ohio State might be able to win Big Ten championships here, but they can't close it out this time. Therefore, for our final promotion to the NFL today, it will come down to the Georgia Bulldogs versus the Indianapolis Colts in Athens, Georgia. The Colts started in the Premier League today, but the Georgia Bulldogs are trying to join it for the first time. They went 31-7, and they're making their way to the NFL. Yeah, way to go, Gunnar Stockton, or Lane Gregory. Wow, what a game, actually. Therefore, 2 new college programs will join the top in our final simulation, Georgia and Texas Tech. Now for our final simulations in the college level, I don't even want to explain what the conferences look like anymore. I mean, just look at it for a second. There's just so much going on. It's a complete headache. And our final Power League champions today are the Florida Gators, finishing 12-1, and they will be moving up to the NFL to end the simulation. Some of the NFL teams did pretty well today as well. The Cardinals are ranked, the Chargers. But looking at the other side of the Power League of the Big Ten, I think USC's going right back up to the NFL level because they went 11-2. Somehow the Panthers went 2-10. I think they're definitely getting relegated. So that means they're going to join the Miami Dolphins in the Standard League. That's as far as NFL teams have gone so far. The Bengals might be there too. They went 5-7. No, I lied, because in the SEC, Missouri went 4-8 and the Titans went 4-8. So that's another NFL team getting relegated. So yeah, the Florida Gators coming out on top of the Power League with USC right behind them. In the playoffs, we have Michigan, Ole Miss, and then 2 NFL teams trying to fight their way back, the Cardinals and Saints. Like I said earlier, sometimes consistency is key. And even though they didn't make their way up to the NFL, teams like Tennessee, LSU, Vanderbilt, all these teams did really good today, and they stayed exactly where they should have been, and that's the Power League. How about not staying where you should have been? 2 NFL teams getting relegated down to the Standard League of college football. I guess they lost all the recruits and all their money the moment they got relegated down, and now they're going any further. Hard to dig your way out of that one. The Titans going down, the Panthers, who finished somehow 2-10 after this last simulation, and the Missouri Tigers will join them as well. So yeah, an interesting playoff from the Power League. We have 2 college teams trying to fight their way to the NFL, and 2 NFL teams trying to find their way back to the NFL. So 4th and 12. Does Michigan want to make it to the NFL or not? They'll start short, a dump-off pass, and he gets driven to the ground well short, and Ole Miss will put the winner of the Saints and Cardinals. Which NFL team, when they meet in the Super League Championship, it's looking a lot like the New Orleans Saints right now, up 30-14. Yes, it will be. They'll close out winning 40-28. Ole Miss versus the New Orleans Saints. So 2 conflicting storylines for these teams. One's trying to make it to the NFL, one's trying to make it back. So which one will it favor? Ole Miss, we need to find a way to put 8 points on the board for a chance to play in the NFL. It's going to be 3rd and long. 3rd down and 7. They get the first down inside the red zone is Ole Miss. They gotta worry about finding the end zone first. He can run for this. There you go. That's 6, and now they need the 2. Will they be able to force overtime? They're gonna pass from the 2-yard line. He might as well just run again. No, he's gonna throw, and it is a catch, but there's a flag. What's the call? Looks like pass interference on defense. They are gonna decline that, and it is tied at 15. Oh no, Saints went 3 and out, and they only had a 39-yard punt. The ball's in midfield. Will they get in field goal range? There's only 5 seconds remaining, and this is caught. He has to go down. They call a timeout with 2 seconds at the 24. The kick of this dude's life right here. This is to get promoted to the NFL and to beat the New Orleans Saints. We'll watch it in slow motion. The Ole Miss Rebels are going to the NFL. They will be the 3rd and final team to make it up that far today, as they'll join Michigan and USC. And as a quick conclusion for year 5, let's finish off the Standard League and the National League. And the Miami Dolphins did end up getting it done. I did say they should go undefeated, but you know what? At least they won't be stuck down here at the end of the year 5. They went 12 and 1, the Standard League champions. It was them and Georgia Tech getting promoted. Finally, I've been waiting for the Yellow Jackets to do something all day. Right at the buzzer, they'll go up to the Power League. And now it's BYU, Baylor, Arizona State, and Virginia Tech playing the playoffs of this league, as Arkansas, Southern Miss, and Minnesota are the final teams to get relegated to the bottom in the year 5. Arizona won the playoff for that 3rd final spot. They will join Georgia Tech and Miami to end it in the Power League. And our final champion today in the National League, the UNLV Rebels, they finished 12 and 1, where they just won a tiebreaker over Jacksonville State and Miami, Ohio. All 3 12 and 1 teams in the National League. UCLA, Boston College, and North Texas will join Miami in the playoffs, where a fitting conclusion as Miami finally got it done. I feel like they've been in the playoffs every single year for this league. Good for them. They finally get to see what promotion's like. The closing recap of year 5 promotions and relegations. Down goes the Broncos, Buccaneers, and Chiefs down to the Super. Joining the Premier to end it today, Texas Tech, San Francisco 49ers, and the Georgia Bulldogs. Into the Power League of college football, the Vikings, the Jets, and back are the Duke Blue Devils. But into the NFL will be the Florida Gators, again the USC Trojans, and the Ole Miss Rebels. Depressingly enough, into the Standard, we have the Missouri Tigers, 2 NFL teams, the Tennessee Titans, and Carolina Panthers. And as those 2 NFL teams go down, one of them goes right back up. The Miami Dolphins going up to the Power. They'll be joined with the Georgia Tech Yellow Jackets and the Arizona State Sun Devils. Ending today at the bottom of the pyramid, too bad for Arkansas, Southern Miss, and Minnesota. And something to smile about to end it today, UNLV, JSU, and Miami, Ohio going up to the Standard. So through 5 simulated years, what were our champion results? In year number 1, the Seahawks won the Premier, then the Ravens won the Super. You had USC in the Power, Texas Tech in the Standard, and Memphis in the National. Nothing out of the ordinary there. It was the same story for year number 2, essentially. The Chiefs, Cardinals, Penn State, Louisville, and Boise State. But where it started getting weird was year number 3, as the Ravens won their first of 2 Premier League championships. Alabama won the Super League their first year in it, and the Chicago Bears won the Power League their first year in it, and then BYU in the Standard League, and then Notre Dame finally did something as they won the National League in year 3. Then in year 4, as we know, the Ravens went back-to-back. Then the Cowboys, Texas Tech won their 2nd league championship in a different league this time, just like the Baltimore Ravens. SMU won the Standard, and then USF won the National. And finally, year 5, we almost saw a college football sweep, but the Oregon Ducks won the Premier League, which was crazy. Texas Tech won their 3rd league today, which is insane as well. Florida Gators won the Power. Then the Miami Dolphins, the 1 NFL team to win in year 5. They won the Standard League. I mean, that's honestly kind of depressing to be that down anyways. And then UNLV, the final National League champion. Let's play Spot the Difference, or more like before and after. We have the year 1 pyramid on the left, and then the year 5 conclusion pyramid on the right. This is the Premier League, how it started and how it ended. I had no expectations for this video, so it was definitely kind of cool to see 5 college football programs end at the top of the pyramid. Now, like I said, nothing's realistic. Everything was auto-generated for them, because I'm not going through their entire teams and adding every single player by their names. That's just not going to happen. I also want to give recognition to the teams that stayed here the entire video. The Packers, Steelers, Lions, Bills, Eagles, Seahawks, Rams. I think all those teams did not move a muscle here in the Premier League, and that's exactly what you want out of these franchises. How did the Super League start and finish? Well, it started with 16 borderline NFL teams, and it ended in a jumbled mess, and honestly, some really good college football programs made their way up. I see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 of them. Very weird to see teams like the Kansas City Chiefs and Denver Broncos in here, but this was through 5 years of simulation. The Penn State and Nittany Lions, honestly, when they got promoted up, I don't know if they've ever moved out of this, so good for them, and they found a way to stay and find their home in the Super League. This has been my favorite one today, the Power League, how it started and how it ended in year 5, and it is a complete difference. Starting from the SEC and Big Ten to this jumbled mess of teams that literally makes 0 sense, but honestly, actually, no mind, it does make a lot of sense, because the Power League is right in the middle of the pyramid. It definitely makes sense to have teams go up and down, and this is kind of like the resting point for all these good teams. Quickly scanning through it, I'm looking for teams that did not move out of the Power League. I see maybe Oklahoma, LSU, South Carolina, Indiana found their way up, Nebraska, some Big Ten teams. But it's cool to see all the National League teams that made it this far up, so Notre Dame, Tulane, and if I counted correctly, 9 NFL teams finished in this level. Down to the Standard League, which started as the ACC and Big 12, it's crazy to say that NFL teams finish in this level as well. That is pretty embarrassing for the Tennessee Titans and Carolina Panthers, who found their way all the way down in the standard. But for the most part, this league basically turned into the SEC and Big 10 sloppy seconds, as all the good teams that were from the ACC and Big 12 actually moved their way up, and now you just have a collection of teams that really didn't deserve to be in the SEC and the Big 10. So Michigan State, you have Cal, Syracuse, Wisconsin, teams that are just not performing well. But again, cool to see teams like Boise State, USF, UNLV, all these group of 5 teams make their way up at least one level. Honestly, there really was no reason to include the National League graphic. I mean, it's like playing a game of Spot the Difference. Or better yet, that one before and after meme. All Blood did was step back. I guess if you're individually looking for a certain team, there's differences. Of course, Notre Dame was the only big headliner I was looking out of the National League. Well, that concludes the promotion and relegation video. I hope you guys don't have as big of a headache as I do, because this was a lot. So I appreciate any support you guys can leave in this video. Thank you guys for watching, and I will see you guys relatively soon for another upload.